So Lions got a big Sunday night game this week in Philadelphia to take on the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. So, of course, let's take a look at this matchup and see how the Lions fare against the Philly Eagles. So, here we go. So, of course, for this game, the point spread for the game has Philadelphia favored entering this game by 1.5 points. So, Detroit are effectively 2-point underdogs coming in against Philadelphia and Philly at the Link. And we all know how tough it is to play at the Link, especially with the Eagles fan base reputation, how rowdy they really get. Philadelphia, they lead the all-time series over Detroit 18-16-2, and Dan Campbell is 0-2 against the Eagles in his career so far. But I should mention this, the last time the Lions played in Philadelphia, they won that game in 2019, and that was with Matt Patricia as the head coach. So I'll just say this, if the Lions can win in Philadelphia with Matt Patricia, they sure as hell could do it with Dan Campbell. And, of course, the two games Dan Campbell lost against the Eagles as the head coach for the Lions, those were at home in Detroit. Dan Campbell's never coached in Philadelphia. Just going to throw that out there. Detroit this year, they're 3-2 on the road, while Philadelphia is 3-1 at home this year. So the key players, of course, on offense for the Eagles, of course, you got Jalen Hurts at QB. As he has really become one of the top QBs from that 2020 class. I mean, he does have the reign. I mean, the top QB in the 2020 class, it's between Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow. I mean, Burrow has the stats, but Jalen Hurts has the Super Bowl ring. And, of course, the running back, of course, is Saquon Barkley, who has really lived up to his potential ever since he left the Giants. Man, it's crazy what happens when he leaves the Giants. Funny how that works. But, of course, they got other running backs in there like A.J. Dillon and Will Shapley. The receiving core, they got names like A.J. Brown. They got Jahan Dotson and Devontae Smith. And tight ends, they got Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra. On defense, though, the defense is where this team really shines, as the defense is loaded for the Eagles. The D-line has names like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, and Ty Robinson. They also got edge rushers like Jalex Hunt and Nolan Smith. Linebacking core has the likes of Sack Bond, Jeremiah Campbell, Jermaine Trotter, Small Mullen, and, of course, the deadline acquisition and Jalen Phillips. And, of course, secondary, the secondary is headlined, by Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And they also got other names in there like Keely Rango, Adoree Jackson, Reed Blankenship, Andrew Makumba, Sidney Brown, and, of course, a trade deadline acquisition and Michael Carter. And their other trade deadline acquisition and Jair Alexander, he did enter this game questionable with a knee injury. But now that status has changed because Jair Alexander has said that he's stepping away from football the other day to focus on physical and mental health issues. Honestly, I do send my prayers to him. I do wish him well because mental health is an issue that needs to be talked about, especially what happened with Nealon with the Cowboys. So, yeah, mental health is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. So, good on Jair to address those issues and address those demons. You know, there are just some things that are bigger than football. So, I send my prayers to Jair and hope he gets better. And hopefully he conquers those demons and comes back to play football. Sometimes football takes a backseat in these types of situations. And Jair's situation, that was the only notable real injury thing on the list. It was an injury until Jair said he was stepping away. So now it's not. It's just him stepping away. And that comes about a couple weeks after the deadline. Crazy. Of course, the head coach of this squad is Nick Sirianni, who is one of the most polarizing coaches in the league. You know, I'll be honest with Nick Sirianni. He's very polarizing. You either love him or you hate him. There's no real in between with him. Well, like Dan Campbell and Nick Sirianni, those are the two top coaches. Like, those are the last two coaches standing from that 2020-2021 offseason head coach hiring cycle. Yeah, the two best coaches. Like, it's not like, those are the two best coaches. I think in terms of who's the better one, the edge goes to Nick Sirianni because he does have a ring. Campbell's not, that doesn't. But I mean, if Dan Campbell gets a ring, then that conversation really gets interesting, though. Offensive coordinator for Eagles is Kevin Patullo, and the defensive coordinator is Vic Fangio. The Eagles' offense this year, it is currently the 24th ranked offense in the league. They're 25th in the passing game, and they're 21st in the run game, which I'm pretty surprised they're that low in the run game because the Eagles' run game, because the Eagles' offense lives and dies by the run game, especially with the tush push. But the Eagles' defense ranks 17th middle of the pack. They're 14th against the pass, but they're 19th against the run, so they've had some issues against the run. Plus, the Eagles have been a bit inconsistent this year at playing a 60-minute game. Like, they're very hit or miss. Like, I think the only time I can confidently say the Eagles played a 60-minute game was that their second matchup against the Giants that they won by 38-20. The other games they've had issues playing 60 minutes. Especially games where they get out to a big lead and then completely blow it, or they get behind early and then kind of come back. So I think the keys to winning this game, I think the Lions need to get off to a fast start right off the bat. I mean, like I mentioned, the Eagles have had issues playing a full 60-minute game, so the Lions need to take advantage of that and get out to an early start. I mean, we all know how rowdy Philadelphia fans get, so I think the biggest thing to try and get the Eagle fans out of this game quickly as possible. So I think the first thing the Lions need to do is they need to get the ball to start the game and score on their opening drive. Like, you got to do everything you can to get the Philadelphia fans out of this game quickly. Especially when it's a primetime game on Sunday Night Football. So since it's going to be a primetime game, you know that Eagles, so whatever the Eagle rowdiness meter would be for a normal game, for a primetime game, you take that rowdiness meter and you multiply it by about 100. So they're going to be even more rowdier than they are for a normal game. Just because it's prime time. So I think in terms of defensively, the Lions need to stop the Eagles' run game. You stop that run game, you stop their offense. You know, whether it's Saquon Barkley or Jalen Hurts, and also containing Jalen Hurts will be crucial. I think also finding a way to try and stop the damn tush push, which everybody says is impossible to do. But I'll say this. There's no such thing as impossible. There is a way to stop it. You just got to get better on D-line. And get good there. And have a good strategy to stop it. And just keep this in mind in terms of the tush push. The Lions were the only team on the Eagles' schedule that voted to keep the tush push. Everybody else on the Eagles' schedule voted to ban it. So yeah, Philadelphia, if you want anybody to thank for keeping the tush push, thank yours truly right here. So yeah, I think that's the big thing. You know, let's see if the Lions can be the ones to stop the tush push. And if the Lions do it, we can then show it to Green Bay and be like, hey, Green Bay, this is how you stop the tush push on the field and not in a courtroom. Offensively, establishing a run game as well is going to be crucial. So, yeah, establish the run, even though it's going to be hard to do that with Jalen Carter on the Eagles D-line wrecking shit. So, you know, got to find a way to try and isolate Jalen Carter, too. Establish the run, maybe take advantage of some mismatches with the receiving core, feed JMO the ball, too. And Amon-Ra. You know, pretty much offensively, just keep doing the same game plan we had last week against Washington and continue to build on that. You know, I'll say this, the Lions' offense looked a lot better with Dan Campbell calling the plays compared to Johnny Morton. So, yeah, Dan Campbell is presumed to be consuming play call duties for the remainder of the season, so that'll be good to see there. So, yeah, of course, the Eagles haven't looked too hot, though, especially coming off that game against Green Bay, which was a game, I'll say. But, of course, you know, it's a week-by-week thing. You know, you match up differently against other teams. You know, I'll tell you right now, based on a lot of numbers, I think the Lions match up very well against the Eagles. And keep this in mind, Philadelphia. You may have won the Super Bowl last year, but you never had to face the Lions during that Super Bowl run. Hell, even a lot of Eagle fans were praying not to face the Lions, even rooting for Washington in the playoffs last year. Which, that is interesting about Eagles fans rooting for Washington in the playoffs. Because Desert Eagle 90 said to me that Eagle fans and anyone in the NFC don't root for division rivals in the playoffs. And said that, and he even said a couple years ago that rooting for division rivals is some circle jerk shit the NFC North likes to do. And he's like, no, Desert Eagle 90. I never rooted for the Packers or the Vikings or even the fucking Bears in the playoffs. So, Desert Eagle 90's got some explaining to do in terms of Eagle fans rooting for Washington in the playoffs last year. Just so the Eagles can get a home playoff game for the NFC Championship. Shut the fuck up with that. I mean, if you're so confident you can beat the Lions any time, any place, then root for the Lions and try and beat them in the playoffs in Ford Field. No excuses. Like, honestly, the fact that Eagle fans last year were rooting for Washington to beat Detroit in the playoffs, that just shows how scared Philadelphia fans are of Detroit. And I'll just say this. Imagine being so scared and having the Lions be so rent-free in your head and being so scared of the Lions that you would actively root for a division rival in the playoffs. Like, that just shows how rent-free Detroit lives in people's head. Well, I'll be honest. The only fan bases that should have been rooting for Washington in the playoffs last year that weren't Commanders fans or should have been Packers, Bears, and Vikings fans. Those were the only three fan bases that should have by default been rooting for for Washington last year. In divisional round. But yeah, of course, a lot of people wondered what would have happened if Detroit faced Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game last year instead of Washington. Yeah, what would have happened if Detroit didn't shit the bed against Washington? Well, now we're going to get a chance to possibly see what that would have looked like. And of course, this is also a very crucial game too because the Eagles currently are the 1 seed, Detroit currently the 3 seed. So, and this game could be crucial because if the Lions continue to build on the momentum and win the NFC North, especially with how weak Green Bay has looked the last couple weeks, if Detroit can continue to build some momentum, there's a possibility this could put Detroit in the line for the 1 seed. Because keep in mind, Philadelphia and Detroit, this game could effectively be a decider if it comes down to a head-to-head tiebreaker at the end of the season. So getting this head-to-head tiebreaker will be crucial. Because I'll tell you right now, you don't want to play in Philadelphia in January. So this is a must-win game. Then again, every game on the Lions schedule is a must-win game. Every game matters. So yeah, again, the 1 seed's it's still very crucial in the goal so far. And for anyone saying, oh, I don't want the 1 seed because the Lions don't do well when they have a week off. Shut the hell up. 2023, Lions had a bye. They won off the bye against the Chargers. Last year, Lions won off the bye against the Cowboys. Good teams can win off a fucking bye. No more excuses. Like, honestly, the fact that some Lions fans think to get a first-round bye in the playoffs is a bad idea, it just shows how stupid Lions fans have gone from listening to the damn internet. But yeah. But anyway, in terms of this game, I think the Lions are getting the Eagles at a good time. I think the Lions match up well against the Eagles. I think a lot of people are underestimating Detroit. I'll tell you right now, anyone that doubts Detroit doesn't fucking know us. But anyway, for this game, I think it's going to be a very close game between the Eagles. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. Like, I'll be honest, I think this game's going to come down to who has the ball in the last 2 minutes. And who can get field goal range. I think it's going to come down to a last-minute field goal. And I'll tell you right now, if Detroit has that ball in the last 2 minutes, they're going to do everything they can to get in field goal range and make sure Philly doesn't get another chance. I think Detroit wins this game. It's going to be a close one. I got Detroit 23-20 over Philadelphia. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a fucking barn burner. But I'm looking forward to the Sunday night matchup. You know, I have in terms of the Eagles, I have really no ill will. I have a lot of respect for the Eagles. I like what they're building down there. Like, the Eagles are a very young, loaded team. Like, that's the team to beat in the NFC right now. And if the Eagles play their cards right, there is a chance they go back-to-back this year. And honestly, I like what the Eagles are building down there. Shout out to Desert Eagle 90 and all the Philly faithful. You know, you got something special cooking in Philly. You know, but, you know, it's going to be a good matchup. I want to see how this O-line stacks up against Philly's D-line. And what we can do with the run game against that Philadelphia defense. But anyway, let's go get this win Sunday night. Let's go play spoiler in Philly. And let's go get a crucial win towards getting that 1 seed and getting that head-to-head tiebreaker. Because really the Lions really have 3 crucial games left, and those being the Eagles, Packers, and the Rams. If the Lions can do well in those 3 games, then I'll be pretty confident that this team will be battle ready for the playoffs and be ready for anybody in the playoffs. But anyway, let's go get this win, and let's get the 7-3, and let's get one step closer to getting that 1 seed again, home field in the playoffs. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hope everyone's a great day, and I'll see you whatever I make next. And as always, go Lions.